All right. Welcome, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to the Leaders Lounge broadcast with me, as always, your host, Karen. And today, my guest is all the way coast to coast today. Nikki is in Boston. Welcome, Nikki. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm so thrilled. I'm so happy to have you. So the reason I'm grinning like ear to ear, you guys, is because, good morning, Josh. Nicky and I both have been on an excursion in our lives with the National Outdoor Leadership School called Knowles. And we both did this back in the 90s on separate trips. But that common thread really, I mean, there's something about being a Knowlesy that kind of ties you together. So I'm thrilled to have her on today. Josh, you're saying good morning to us, so I'm hoping that means we're coming through loud and clear. I always like to check the audio and the visual. So hopefully you guys are hearing us and that we're coming through okay. Would love to hear where you guys are joining us today, if you're on my coast, if you're on her coast. And love to hear what you guys are, where you're at, where you're joining us from. So, Nikki, welcome aboard. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's so great to be here. I'm pretending I'm in Sonoma right now.
Well, Boston's pretty awesome.
Boston's pretty awesome. We have a little bit of haze out there today, so I'm hoping if you have better weather, I'm just going to pick that coast.
Yeah. It's, it's been an amazing, I gotta tell you, it's been like 92 degrees lately, but we don't get that humidity, it's why you miss that. Because like yesterday I was talking to my folks on the phone. Oh no, I was talking to my friend Lauren, and it was 92 degrees, but I still had like leggings on, because
amazing. I know. Here it's like very wet when it's 92.
Yes. I remember those days. I do. Well, Nikki is the head of business development for a mortgage firm, and she is also in co-chair for St. Jude Boston's Walk Run. And I know those are two big things that you're very passionate about, Nikki. So thank you for taking time out of your schedule to be with us. And I can't wait to dive in. And for those of you who are just joining us, like I said, Nikki's here with us from Boston, and we were on this outdoor leadership trip that we both experienced. And you guys have to understand, this is like 30 days in the woods, or in her case, in Alaska, kayaking, no, shelter except for, everything you had with you, you carried on your back. Maybe you got a stowaway thing here or there in the kayak. I mean, little camp stove, sleeping on the ground, the whole 9 yards. So it's pretty intense. And I think that's why we both did it in the 90s when we were younger.
Yes. Although I'd like another round at this age.
Would you? Oh, man.
Ready again.
Oh, God. Good for you. I would love to do that.
I'm curious to see how I survive it now, but different perspective. I think maybe there's pieces that I'd appreciate differently.
Totally.
Than at that moment,
Totally. I totally agree, right? Life, we have a couple of decades on us now that would provide that perspective. What was your biggest takeaway, you think, from your Knowles trip?
So I went on my Knowles trip when I had just graduated from high school, and it was summer before I went to college. So it's a very transformative time for everybody. And, I didn't know exactly what to expect from it, but I was very excited about it. I wanted this really rugged experience, and I wanted to learn how to do this no trace camping and that. So I think though my biggest takeaway surprise, and I haven't really thought about what my biggest one is, but probably that I didn't need much.
I so get that.
You and you come back and you're maybe I don't need all of this stuff. We have so much stuff in life now. I could use an all-out clean out. And if you just think of what you use on your Knowles trip, I think I had a comb. There's no any of the things that we have just to keep us comfortable now or whatever it is. I was totally fine without all of that, and I think that it's a very freeing feeling to not need anything and to have everything that you do need with you. We didn't have any pit stops where we refueled or everything we had for the 30 days was with us, and that was very freeing.
Yeah.
And now I feel like we'd even feel more stripped down because then it was like we didn't have cell phones to leave behind. Now, like, then those people probably just, they don't bring a cell phone, right?
I'm thinking, no, I feel like that's very taboo. Yeah.
You have no connectivity anyway. I mean, you're in the middle of nowhere. So,
yeah.
So I think that was probably my biggest takeaway. And I try to think about that sometimes, just in life. Like, well, what do I really need with me? Like, not much. Like, and I was so happy on that trip, with very, very little stuff.
Yeah. I so get that. And I was going to ask you this, like, how does that help you lead, having that takeaway? And you're right. Like, now you put that lens on a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, really, do I need, am I just trying to fill a void, or is this really what I need in my life?
Yeah. And I think for leadership, now I truly have never thought about this way before you just asked me that, but I would say, so on my team at work, I had a business development for Sean Pinosi, and he happens to be the #1 loan originator in the country out of 500,000. So like, wow. We're busy and we're grateful and excited. But what I would say is we've always approached like our marketing. And before I was head of business development, I was head of business development and head of marketing for 4 years. And then we just hired this like amazing person to our team to take over the head of marketing. But we've always been very scrappy and with how we market and how we do things as a team to like make an impact with our referral partners and stuff. Like we didn't have, even though he's, an incredible loan originator and we have a great parent company behind us that has tremendous technology resources, as far as marketing and business development, we didn't have a ton of resources. So just being really scrappy and being like, okay, well, I don't need much to make a big impact. And where can I shift our energy to, market and grow through community giving or build our network that way?
Yeah.
And, not needing, a ton of promo items to make an impact, and like, how can we actually make an impact by just connecting with people, which is always free.
Yeah, exactly. And like the best marketing you could have.
Yeah, and fun and memorable and like makes you feel good, makes your sphere feel good, and like it has to come from heart because you're spending a lot of time doing it then, which is important.
Absolutely. Community is like your community of the people you serve. Your community could be the people, like for those of you in a work setting and you're thinking how this could relate, right? Your community is your fellow coworkers to the left of you and to the right of you, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so that's like a lot of what we've done over the past, 5 years. I'm almost here 5 years, but I worked with Sean long before I worked for him, is that we've developed like whatever we do for our team with the community, we package up and we give as a resource to our referral partners to do with their communities. So it's like this ripple effect. And then they just get the good stuff. They don't get all of our bloopers that we try along the way. But, we all have them, right?
Of course, best part.
That works well for our business development and our growth. We just package up and each our, most of our referral partners are real estate agents who are growing their own business. And then, they can use it for their sphere, their past clients, their neighborhoods and communities. So it works well. And it's like pretty scrappy, but that's good. It works.
I love that. Oh, so yes. There's just something about that word scrappy that like immediately you feel so proud.
I do. Yeah. And it's like the whole thing. It's like you have like those green and blue pants and a water bottle and you're like, here we go, 30 days.
That's what we got. Yep.
Super scrappy.
Yep. Everything up here. You got to get your skills. And I would say my takeaway was very, very similar, was, and I was thinking about this, it's definitely that simplicity was the key to it, all of it. Like, I just have everything I need right here. Start where you are, and just put one foot in front of the other and enjoy the view along the way. Right. And
I love that. Mm-hmm.
It was just, when you think back and like you said, for me, it was between college graduation and real life. Right. So again, that transition time. Mm-hmm. And I can remember that pressure of doing what you're supposed to do and all that kind of stuff really dissipating as soon as I got on the plane, because it was an adventure and I'm going to do something that no one had thought I would do. And and just being with those people we just laughed all the time, even though you're at some points really really pressured to, we were out of water, we had this thing happen and that thing happen, and you're in the elements and all you got is each other. Yet it all worked out fine. You got scrappy.
Yeah. And that discomfort is so important to the Knowles experience, because you realize you're okay through it.
Yep.
Like, you're okay. You can get through some uncomfortable situations, some cold days or whatever it is.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
It's crazy how the physical, difficulties can also teach you how to mentally be strong.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And Knowles really teaches you that. Well, I don't even know if they set out to teach it. They must know it happens, because it totally happens.
Yeah. And it's a mind and body experience of becoming very mentally strong, whether you know what's happening or not. And I think that's how it works, right? It's like, because you reflect back. I reflect back on that time and I'm like, well, that was like such a crazy experience and it was so cool and I did it. So like, what else can I do?
Exactly. You have that point of reference.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for those of you guys listening that resonates with you a little bit about, sometimes it's a matter of going through what you're going through to get you prepared for what's on the other side. Right now, it may seem really hard, really pointless, really challenging, or you may feel like you don't know what to do. But we can both tell you from past experience that if you just keep going, keep putting that one foot in front of the other, keep your eye out on the prize, that you will come out on the other side. You have to. Right? You absolutely have to. And you'll look back and be like, oh, that wasn't that bad, actually. And I did it. So I can keep going, So I love that experience for that. So, and I'm sure everyone has something in that. I hope you do have that in your life where you can look back and be like, I did that. Because that point of reference for confidence makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
For sure. So, Nikki, what would you say has been your proudest moment as a leader?
So I would say, like I said, my job, my real job is with Shant and heading up business development for our team, which I am super proud of how our team has grown and how we've built relationships and just our level of service. I'm proud of, like, when it's exciting to be part of someone's life when they buy a home. Very exciting. And it's great to do that. But I would say my side job, which is not a job that I'm paid for, but my volunteer gig, is I head up the St. Jude walk run for Boston, New England area. I co-chair this year. I snuck somebody else on with me because, it's always more fun as a team, everything, in my opinion. But what's been a really proud moment for me is how I've been able to integrate both of those things, like the St. Jude walk run and the business development for Team Champagnosian, and watched all of our actual work team, and then all of our clients, their friends, their families, our partners, as far as other people in our industry, all come together. And we've grown the walk from, I started chairing it, this will be my 4th year. So 4 years ago, we were at like $200,000, and last year we raised over $650,000.
Wow.
Over 2,000 people now doing it. And just watching, it's like true work-life integration, I would say, because it's like my volunteer gig, my professional gig. It's personally feels like unbelievably fulfilling to have like my family, my friends all involved. Like anyone with a pulse who knows me is coming. You can too, because now there's no geographic barriers. But watching it really grow has been, I think, I would say, my proudest moment as a leader. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's like your baby has just grown up and now it's got its own 2 legs and making its own decisions. And
and it started, it started really out of like, a different job I had. Somebody offered me a bib to run the Boston Marathon for St. Jude. The St. Jude didn't have a marathon team. And so it wasn't really even a St. Jude bib, but I ran with it. And then from there, I grew the marathon team. And then St. Jude said, can you shift over to the walk? We need help here. And I was like, I don't really think that sounds exciting. But what I realized quickly as I kind of thought about the opportunity was, instead of just having people donate and support that way and spread the good cheer and awareness, everyone could participate. And I liked the idea that it was actually everybody could physically do it too, and it wasn't just me running. It was something everybody could make their own. So it's been really unbelievably satisfying, especially this year during COVID, and pivoting that whole experience has been amazing.
Right? Yeah, I can't talk about needing to relearn as far as how to do all of that. So congratulations. That must have been quite a head scratcher at first.
Yeah. So in March, we were obviously, when everybody started to be home sheltered and everything with COVID happened, I was pivoting work and changing how we did things, which you and I had spoken about before. But for the walk, I wasn't excited about doing a virtual 5K in September. Like, that didn't seem inspiring to me. And I was like, I don't really know how I'm going to engage people to raise the kind of money we raised last year, raise the same awareness, and also the same connectivity between people. I mean, everyone's so spread out. So I started to figure out how we could evolve it to become more of a fitness challenge, and how we could connect people through Strava. I mean, there's so much technology out there now. So we have like a Strava club that you join, the mobile app. You can do it anywhere USA. And we rolled it out as a mile a day challenge at first. So it gets people moving and accountable to each other and like out and doing. There's so much more to post about awareness if you're walking 100 miles versus 3, right?
Yeah.
And just watching it grow has been really exciting.
That's amazing. I mean, that is seriously amazing. Because like you said, you and I have been talking about the pivoting that's been required and the adaptations that all businesses have been forced to face. Yeah. Right. And again, Knowles comes back up because it's either you can either sit down and curl up in a ball and wish things were different, or you start looking at this with this new perspective of, okay, this is the parameters I've been given. What does success look like now? What do I have to start doing?
Yeah. And I think it's important to be like, how do I get excited about it now, instead of trying to like fit a round peg into a square hole of like how it used to be like 6 months ago. I almost never want to go back to that. Like now it's a fitness challenge. It's every day. Like we're moving, we're doing stuff. We just announced a 100-mile challenge for the month of August. Like people are excited about it. And it almost is like, it turned into a massive opportunity to figure out a new way to engage a lot of people and get people really excited about something different, and also meet people where they are now instead of like, this is how it's always been.
Yeah, I love that last piece. It is so crucial in leadership, in business, to meet people where they are. Like you need to be paying attention to all of a sudden, okay, everything's different. So now the same approach that I was using before, whether that's with a client or whether that's with a team, not necessarily going to work now.
No.
And so what is, like you said, you got to kind of let go of that, trying to put that round peg in a square hole. The angrier you get and the more forceful you get, it still ain't going to fit. Yeah.
I'm like, we used to do these ice cream party launches for the teams for the walk.
Yeah.
And they were talking about doing a virtual ice cream party. I'm like, no, like that's a square peg in a round hole to me. Like that's not, like that's not where we are now. And so figuring out what ways you can engage people in a different setting, in a different like world climate, I guess is really what it is, has been exciting. And also I think in leadership, like that's where the creativity gets to flow in and become a really like a challenge, but also you get to break from the norm, which is so exciting. Because otherwise it's like the same thing, and we make changes each year and try to improve on it, but this is like we get to clean slate it and be like, how do we want to do this, which is fun.
I agree. It's definitely opportunity time right now too. And whether that's I write a blog probably about once a month is when I come out, and maybe a couple other times as well. But this month's theme was exactly what you were just talking about. Now is the time, whether you're talking about your business or your own personal life, that, I mean, the gloves are off. The world there's so much crazy and so much change and upheaval. No one is going to look at you sideways if you decide to do something off the wall.
No,
right? Like
opportunity that is.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, do whatever right now because people are, and you know what? It's nice to do it without all the commentary from the friends or the family or the you know, the this and the that who always have their 2 cents, right? So it's just like, go for it. Like if now is if there was ever a time, it is so right now.
It is so right now. I mean, no one knows what's going on next month. So might as well take a chance.
Yep, exactly. So I'm curious, you know, you're very positive about this stuff. Your mindset is really strong as far as, hey, look for the opportunity. Can't fit a round peg in a square hole. You know, this is as a leader, this is your time. You can get really creative. How on God's green earth do you stay so in that positive mindset? What helps you do that?
So that is a great question. I would say I do a lot of like daily little things that I try to really keep on top of that make me feel good, that, you know, hopefully build a muscle for when things aren't, I mean, life is life, right? Like we all have ups and downs, like, you know, no one is immune to what's going to come our way. But hopefully whatever the little things are, and I can go through, I have like a habit tracker that I keep of all this stuff. But
nice.
We're at my work desk now, so it's right here. But hopefully I'm like in a mindset where whatever comes my way, you know, I might have something not work out or whatever, tricky times, but and I would really say like just life on life's terms, right? I mean, people are sick now. There's so much going on in this world that's unfortunate and tragic. So I try to just keep as strong as I can during the times that are, you know, and daily, so that when stuff happens, when life happens, I'm okay. And I have like tools in place to handle it. So, I mean, it's little things, and I don't do anything perfectly. Like, and I'm a true half measures person in a lot of ways. It's okay. It's like working with them. But like I try to like do the basics, like eat well. I'm like very thoughtful about like what kind of food I eat, and not necessarily all healthy, but just like I work with like a nutrition coach, Stronger You, and they help, you know, make sure that I'm like eating well. And then I drink 70 ounces of water a day. I have like this water bottle that I get through. I meditate for 5 minutes a day because that is like a long time for me. I know like people who really meditate a lot are like, that's but 5 minutes is good. And I've worked up from 2. So like I've doubled my time.
Right.
And, you know, I try to read like 20 minutes a day of fiction. That really helps just keep me, you know, I feel like I can live a million lives. I've heard that quote before. I don't remember who said it, but if you read, you like are living a million lifetimes in one. And I love that quote because it always sets perspective a little bit differently. And I keep really in close touch with my friends. So like I'm always making sure, no matter how busy I am with work, with St. Jude stuff, with my kid, I have 2 kids, like busy with that, that I'm always talking to my close girlfriends, like at least sending a text or checking in like once or twice a day, you know. And I think that having that kind of support network is really fortunate, and I feel really grateful for it. But it's really basic things. I have like fitness on here. I actually right now I'm walking a mile a day for St. Jude. So I already told you guys that, but I run 3 times a week, and I try to do other stuff to like really stay mentally and physically feeling good. Those are like my baseline things. If nothing else happens in my day, I'm okay if I do those things. And if I don't do those things for like a week or whatever, I'm still okay, but I start to feel it and I start to get grumpy, right?
Yep.
So I think that helps with staying positive. And also I just really do feel like having experiences like Knowles in life, or having, you know, hardships in life that you walk through. Like Knowles isn't a hardship, it was a luxury, amazing experience. I mean, it's not luxurious, but it's like a gift to be able to do a trip like that. But, you know, hard things in life, having walked through them and looking back at them, I'm like, oh, well, less feels insurmountable. And that could be a totally naive comment or whatever, but I feel like why choose any other way to look at it? Because like if something comes up that I can't handle, like I'm not going to worry about it until that happens, right? You know, I'll find out. And in the meantime, I'm not going to think about it like that. So I feel really lucky with my life. Like, I mean, I've made it through a lot. I've had a lot of great experiences. I love meeting people, and I'm very open to that, which I think is a gift. And I feel very fortunate. So my choice is positive.
I love that. I love that. I mean, there's so much there that I resonate with. I mean, really very, very parallel things. And, you know, I have like the habit tracker. Like I have my morning routine, the same, my mornings are the exact same, you know, Monday through Friday. They may shift, they definitely shift a little on the weekends.
Yeah.
But, and I'm just like you, if you're right, if I skip it I try not to go past 3 days because there was a Daniel Craig quote that said, never try and go past 3 days without exercise. So that really resonated with me. Because again,
I probably shouldn't.
Right.
Everybody's around me too. Right.
It's hard. It's right. Because then it starts getting really hard to get back into it. Right. You're like, oh God, this is gonna hurt. But those things that, you know, and like you said, baseline foundational stuff, diet, exercise, rest, support system, you know, these are all things that you can create. You can choose to create them. You can choose to create this environment for yourself. And that's like the best part ever, is that what you're saying, and what I agree with too, as far as what really helps me, I don't even want to say get through the days, but really actually helps me enjoy life, to be honest, right? Are those little things. And you have to find what works for you. And you're right. There are days where it's like, ugh, I do not want to do this today. And you know what, Jocko Willink, he's a Navy SEAL, and his quote is, discipline equals freedom.
It's so true. I totally agree with that. Yep.
Totally. And I am the person who, okay, you're talking to a former Knowles person, right? I was definitely the reject all routine, reject any structure in my life, right? I don't know what I want to do. I'm going to fly with the willows in the wind, you know, right? Like go with the flow. So to bring in and invite structure into my life, and then not only that, to really depend on it.
Yeah.
When I heard he does like a 20-minute YouTube video. If you guys see it, I'll put a banner up here for you. But his name's Jocko Willink, and it's just amazing. Discipline equals freedom. Because what happens is, like, I'm sure you're like me, I don't even think about exercising anymore in the morning. My clothes are on and I'm already doing it. It's become that habit.
Yeah. I read the book like 2 years ago. Well, maybe it wasn't 2 years ago. I don't know when it came out, but Atomic Habits by James Clear. Have you read that one yet?
I watched the TED Talk. I haven't read it yet.
So that's a great book. And what I actually did was, so when I read that book, I went into the guy I work with, Sean, and I was like, oh my gosh, we have to book club this with this is exactly what we do on our team. But like, he just says it way better.
Yeah.
And he actually shows like how to do it, right?
Right.
So instead of just like, you know, oh, just drink 70 ounces of water, like people always say like hydrate. And I'm like, it's so hard. Like, I think I was dehydrated for 4 years. Like all I would do is drink coffee, because like, even though it's so simple to drink water, for some reason it was like an insurmountable challenge for me. And so what's great is in his book, he like really shows you how, like, have it right there with you. Like get a water bottle. I mean, he doesn't do it around water. He does it around other things, but like stack it on the other things in your day. Like design your environment, be an architect of your environment so that it's easy to do these habits. And then it's like you with the running or working out in the morning. It's like your clothes are just on and it's just your habit now. And it takes time to do that. And then to look at why a habit that I want to have in place won't work out, and then get rid of those obstacles before I try, you know?
Yeah, it's a work in progress for sure. And it definitely falls into that simple, not easy category, right? And but you have to, I don't know, there's just there comes a point, I think that it happens for all of us, where you just kind of, you realize that almost that definition of insanity, right? You can't keep doing the same thing and expect different results.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden something clicks, whether it's that point in your life, whether it's age, whether you're fed up with something, whether you're really passionate about something and you know you need to. I think that was it for me. I was really passionate about being successful as a leadership coach and having that impact. And so that just really motivated me to instill habits that I knew would work. And they may not work right away. They may not work on day 1 or even day 10, but at least you start feeling the shift after like 2 weeks, and you start realizing it is helping. You start feeling these little things. So you just have to tell yourself in a way, like, just do this for 21 days, 30 days, 14 days, whatever. And just to try and see if it works, because we're so quick. There's a quote, because again, I love quotes in books, but there was a good Jen Sincero who wrote all these all the titles of her books are you can be a badass at this, you can be a badass at that. And one of the things she points out is that we make this decision to do something, and whether that's become a leader, whether that's open your own business, whether that's found an organization, whatever it is, until it gets too hard. And then once it becomes too hard, then our commitment wanes, because it's just all of a sudden we weren't ready for it to be hard. We don't want it to be hard, but yet it's not going to be easy because it's something you've never done before.
Right.
So it's like that constant push pull of wanting and desire, but I don't want to do this. Oh, I don't want to do that. I just want it to happen.
Yeah, I just want it to happen. And I think what's good about the habits is like making them to be things that are super attainable and easy.
Definitely.
And like the water, it's like, well, if I don't know exactly if I feel better, like how I feel better from hydration, right? I mean, it's like such a basic thing. Like I'm sure I do function better, like physically with water in my body, right? Because it's like humans, we're supposed to drink water. But the other way it works for me is like, I just like that I'm able to prove to myself, I can make a commitment to myself. I know this is good for me. Whether I understand how it's good for me or not, kind of doesn't matter. But it's a simple thing I can do. And at the end of the day, I'm like, I drank 70 ounces of water today. Like I am a success. Like I did something for myself that I said I would do. And then that muscle gets built, that like we can honor the commitments to ourselves.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I love that whole kind of like approach to things. Because like you said, those little things that you're doing every day, whether it's drinking 70 ounces of water, whether it's doubling your meditation from 2 to 5 minutes, right? Those are victories. And like you said, it lays such a strong foundation, you guys. I can't tell you how much this helps. It lays such a strong foundation for when you are challenged by life in whatever way, shape, or form. All of a sudden you have this really strong body and mind who can now figure it out, right? You will figure it out because you have all this other stuff in place to help you. And so I think that's just so freeing, and so empowering. Love that. Love it. Awesome. If anyone has, of course, any questions, I went off the comment screen for a second. So, awesome. Yeah, we had a Facebook user. For those of you watching in the lounge, Facebook, they make you anonymous. They hide your identity. So thank you. I'm glad whoever said awesome. I'm glad you agree too. And if you have any questions, you guys, on how to establish a morning routine, ideas for yourself, feel free to throw them in the comments, and Nikki and I will do our best to help. All right. I think we have time for one more question, my friend. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. If you were going to give advice to your younger self about how to be successful, as an adult, and you're looking at year 2000, Nikki, and you want her to be successful now in 2020, what advice would you give to her?
I think I would give myself the advice to not worry about all of like that the blueprint that like we think that we need to follow, right? I mean, maybe everybody doesn't have like a blueprint in their mind of what they think to follow, or everybody's raised totally differently and like comes from different experiences. But I kind of was like checking off boxes for a long time, like go to college, get my first job, like get married, have kids, like, on and on. And, what I found is like none of that stuff. I'm grateful, obviously, for every experience I personally had. Like, I'm very grateful for that. But all the things that I thought were supposed to happen in certain times where I should, like all the shoulds I had, like really didn't matter, and now at this moment in my life, like I've just kind of I don't know how I got free from that mindset, but I just want to be free. And like, you know, we talk about routines giving you freedom, and also like feeling confident that you can take care of yourself and that it's not really about what everybody else is thinking and there isn't really one set way to go is massive freedom, right? And so like I wish I just told, like I would tell my younger self, like don't worry about all the things you think you should do, just work hard, like lead with heart, like do the things you're passionate about, get excited because like life is exciting and there are tons of opportunities, and just go on the path that you really feel you want to be on. And don't worry about timing. Like timing is kind of like a made up thing, right? You know, it's not too late or too early. Like you go and do things as you're ready. And so I think that would be my advice to my younger self. I think career-wise, that too. Like, I kind of did a lot of that. Like I carved my own path career-wise in ways, but like, you know, there's no finish line, so to speak. So just like go at your own pace and follow your heart.
I love that. I love that. Follow your heart. Right. You could talk to two ladies here who really believe in adventure, and life can be an adventure. And right.
It should be.
Totally. I mean, think of how boring your life would be if you went down that the list to check the boxes and you did it all. And that was like the only form you followed, right? You may have made someone else happy. You're right, exactly. You may have made someone else happy, but not necessarily yourself. And you have to live with you. So,
right.
So yeah, throw out the checkbook. I mean, maybe it's who has checkbooks anymore? Anyway, throw out the checklist. You know, go at your own speed. Carve your own path. It's all the things that we hear a lot of, and then you kind of, as you get older, you discount it as, well, it's too late now, like you said, right? It's not time anymore.
And I will say, I would give advice to my younger self too, to say, you can always change your mind.
Right?
Start doing this, and if you don't like it, it's okay. Like you're not committing, like every house you buy is not your forever house. Like, you know, that's okay. Like people sell houses all the time. Like I'm in the mortgage space, so that's why that analogy came to mind. But you can be in any life and change your mind and reroute. And it's not easy. That's like the hard, there's work involved, but that's the lesson for me to my younger self. Like you don't worry about a blueprint. Don't worry about trying things because you can change your mind, and that's okay.
Totally. I totally agree with that. Right. When I coach people around this stuff, because it happened to me at 42, all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, it'd been eating out of me a while, but I decided to make that career change. Right. And when I help other people go through that as well, through their own self-leadership, that's one of the things I tell them straight up is that, guess what? Like, this is going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard because you're changing everything about what you currently know. But the great news that I love so much is that it's also going to be really hard if you stay where you're at.
Yes.
Like, right? Because that is like, you're not happy. You're already questioning it. Yes. You're not. Humans aren't meant to stay still. We're not meant to just be in one spot, you know? So that itself, choosing to ignore that pull that you're feeling, is going to be just as hard. So do you want possibility and adventure and kind of getting in the game, or it's like, okay, or sidelines, I know what's going to happen, and let me just, you know, count the minutes until, you know, I'm with St. Peter and everyone else upstairs, you know, like, so it's going to be hard either way, you guys. So that's the best news ever. Just gonna be a lot more fun, at least that's how I saw it, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Great advice. I love that. Have fun. Like, but you have to, you know, and I think to have fun, like, just balance for me, it comes with an asterisk. Like we talked about having minimalism as part of our lives at the beginning. And one of the reasons I was able to pivot was because, you know, I put myself in a position that allowed me to. Mm-hmm. Right. You know, I saved up some money so I wouldn't be scared when I all of a sudden didn't have any income. So I had to save for that. Right. I have a 2006 Kia because it's paid for. right? Because I couldn't gamble with, it's like, I could go get a new car, but why? Because that's going to put the lifestyle that I'm looking for at risk.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to make tough choices. But you can totally do it, especially in this life. Yeah. Yeah. So, well, thank you, my friend. It's been great having you.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's been wonderful. How can people like find out more about St. Jude or work with you?
So for St. Jude, I'll send you my link. But anyone is welcome to register for the walk. They can build a team, or they can join Team Everybody, or Everyone, I think is the name. There's no registration fee, no fundraising minimums, or no mileage minimums. So it's really open for everybody. St. Jude really shares all their research with every other hospital, and they also have no billing department, so no family receives a bill for treatment, housing, transportation, or food while they're there. So in true spirit of St. Jude, we want to make the walk as inclusive as possible. And with that being said, if you sign up for the walk and you want to be held accountable or hold yourself accountable to walking a mile or running a mile a day, doing our challenge for 100 miles, which is going to be great, all the way through September 26th, that would be greatly appreciated. You register for the walk, and then you sign up for our Strava club and just post what you're doing to raise awareness, and you'll get a fundraising link with it if you want to fundraise as well.
That's so awesome. That's so great. And Nikki will put that link, in our below our video when we go back into social media land, so you guys can find her there as well. And you can connect with her in the lounge. And again,
thank you.
It was so great. Thank you guys, all of you for being here and joining us today, especially my friend Nikki. And
thank you.
Appreciate it. You bet.
It's
Stay
such a
safe,
treat.
everyone. Oh, good. Yay. All right. Thank you, guys. We'll have the replay next Tuesday. And then in 2 weeks from now, we will have another friend of mine, Lori Taylor, coming on board to be with us on the lounge. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.